Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason here at New Dimensions, Crystals and Reiki in downtown Burnham, Texas. It is the report for December the 11th through December the 17th, 2024. And as usual, as I arrange my feet underneath the desk, we start with our sun. The sun has been quiet. Mostly quiet. It's had several M-class solar flarings, which are the flashes on the sun, but they have had no CMEs, coronal mass ejections, or releases of material towards the Earth. So they should just be psychically effective or energetically stimulating to those that are sensitive to the sun. Shouldn't really be affecting technology and or the satellite arrays. So don't look for any kind of disruptions for the internet, unless, of course, there are eruptions that happen past today. And of course, you can check your own space weather news if you'd like to. Spaceweathernews.com, I think, is a good place to start. There are no coronal hole streams that are currently facing the Earth, so no need to pay attention to any extra pressures that might be going. So, just in a very subtle sense, the only thing the sun should be affecting, uh, besides its low energy, which might be making you feel low energy if you get a lot of energy from the sun, but with the M classes, it shouldn't be triggering any kind of psychic episodes and or triggering any physical reactions by its low activity. Also, we are currently in the solar zodiac sign of Sagittarius, so that could be affecting the thighs and the liver. Like I mentioned last week, over the holiday season, as we partake and hang around and do and participate in ritualistic reunions around alcohol, pay attention to the effect on your liver. We, of course, almost by the end of this week, but we'll be moving into Capricorn on the solstice, 21st. For those who start to feel the shifts early, that's going to be in the lower spine, the last three vertebrae of the sacrum. And so those are usually associated with Kundalini, which sometimes is understood as a spiral or a spring that rises up from the base of the spine and activates all the energy up the spine, feeds the chakras, or at least gives it an energetic return, and moves up and activates or causes excretions from probably the amygdala, but also the third eye or the pineal gland, which is most popular to talk about. But you just want to think about that during that time of the solstice or winter, as it were, that coil is building energy in it, so that it may spring forth when what happens? Spring. It's like our alchemical body is connected to the planet and the cycles of the seasons. Anywho, yeah, pay attention to that sort of energy that's moving along with you. It sort of feels like I'm not talking loud enough, but I think it's just the way the energy is in the space today. We are currently in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retrogrades. Four by the end of the week that we are talking about. Currently, we are in Chiron, which, as you know, if you've been listening to the report, is really about healing your beliefs and your limitations, right? So, this is healing probably perspective more than the actual things, because it's about perspective that limits you. So this is about healing your limitations, or your beliefs that you are limited. So pay attention to that energy with Chiron in retrograde. Uranus is in retrograde, which is about rebuilding the 3D self, right? So that's a lot of uh, self-actualization energies are about realizing that the body doesn't have to deteriorate and isn't necessarily governed by or in the same vein is stuff that's created to deteriorate. So it doesn't have to deteriorate at the rate that you believe it does. So that's what talks about rebuilding the 3D self, the physical body. Jupiter is also in retrograde, which is mostly affecting your self worth, right? That ability to be large, important, in charge. So that just ability to sort of engage and embody your own power. A lot of times that energy leads to entrepreneurship, which kind of plays into the energy of today and the energy of Mars retrograde, which we'll get to. And then we are in Mercury retrograde. It's about communication and travel, and a lot of times relationships, as old relationships come up to help you discover whether you've communicated correctly with that relationship or with yourself about what you actually want. So sometimes you'll see patterns jump up to sort of double check you on the patterns that you've chosen or whether you've actually chosen a new pattern or somebody who does that pattern in a way that is less irritating. That's always a annoying thing to figure out. Mercury retrograde, and then also we are in Mars retrograde, which happens only once every 2 years. Which is piled on into the Wednesday's energy, which we'll get to in a sec. But basically, Mars is about action. Mars is about the intentions that you set, the soul based energy of the self, making its way into physical reality. It's about the integration of divine masculine. And Mars really helps us develop or discover or realize the energy that we use to help us follow through. Some of us might not follow through as much as they would like, or their follow through is less clear. So yeah, that leads us into today, Wednesday, the 11th of December. And really, if you've been outside, you can see that Mars is bright in the sky, and we're really under the Mars retrograde effect. As we know, a couple weeks ago, Pluto moved back into Aquarius. And just as a reminder, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was during the French and American revolutions. And of course, we are ending the year of 2024, which is an 8 universal year, and we're preparing to move into a 9 universal year, right? So if we think about action, intention, soul based understanding, integration of divine masculine, and the monumental shifts of what those changes of revolution were intended to do, and how people might have felt with the collapsing of established norms of the times when those things happened, it might sort of see like, hey, history it runs on cycles. It doesn't even really matter your opinion of how the power dynamics are shifting and the understandings of the cosmos, and most to the American mind probably is the idea of corporate and government power is renegotiating itself. So as we move into a 9 universal year, that really sort of sums up as into completion. And so, since everything works in cycles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ends a decade-long cycle where we'll be wrapping up the shifts of the last decade, right? So think to 2005, 2006, and think of all the things that have shifted since then: the rise of the internet, the rise of AI, the shifts in government, the shifts in public opinion, all the fun stuff that's sort of gone on since 2005. Pay attention to that energy today, Wednesday, but just over the next couple of weeks for sure, if not next couple of months, the energy of the cosmos shifts on a dime per se, but not necessarily. Just think of it as a big ship, and you're trying to turn it in a large body of water while your momentum's been going in one direction, but it needs to go in another, not just a slight alteration. So, sort of think about how that, what kind of focus that takes. Moves into Thursday, the 12th, which is great because all this energy sort of moves us into the 12-12 gateway. And you want to think of 12-12 gateway in terms of the higher dimensions lowering themselves down, not necessarily lessening their energy, but sort of projecting their dimension into our reality. Much more so than us raising ourselves up into their dimension. But it is definitely the melding of dimensions. And so those of you who are sensitive might notice an uptick in synchronicities, if not visionary experiences of things that don't seem to be of this 3D reality um, that we've been told about. Yeah, I think that's the energy of Thursday the 12th and the 12/12 gateway. So sort of usually the gateways last till the end of the month, right? So think about that for the next 2 to 3 weeks as we move into the new year, right? And so if the dimensions are becoming more evident, then we will have higher choices than the ones that we think that we're limited to in the 3D reality that we are shifting from. So if it is about revolution, it is not necessarily about the combating of 3D realities, but the grasping to a new higher reality in spite of or while letting go of the 3D reality that no longer serves you or us. Moves us right along into Friday, the 13th. It's the last Friday the 13th of the year. And of course, Friday the 13th is the divine feminine energy, right? So if you want to think about Mars and then the Friday the 13th, it's really this integration of divine feminine, divine masculine. So use that energy what you will. The Geminids are peaking. They'll be hard to see because the moon's almost full, which the moon becomes full on Saturday, Sunday. And so just sort of think about the Geminids look towards Gemini. It will be a full moon in Gemini. And so just sort of think of uh, the unification of dimensions, right? There's the you, and then there's the twin you, which is in this higher dimension. And maybe they become the one you, or you understand how they are already one. That would be a good energy to sort of move into. So full moon, Saturday, the 14th of December. Um, Full moon, unify the dimensional self, like I just sort of said. Sunday, 12:15, the full moon is also the last day of Mercury retrograde. So a lot of communication issues will sort of come up during that full moon energy, along with old energy of relationships would be an interesting energy to figure out on Sunday. Moves us into Monday, December the 16th. Mercury will be moving direct. So we'll only be in 4 retrogrades. Uh, Great energy for the end of the year. Um, yeah. Then Tuesday, the 17th, the last day of our report, you should really expect that the post Mercury retrograde shadow, which usually lasts about 2.5 weeks, will take us into the new year. And that's really going to sort of help you wind up who are you? How would you like to communicate that to the world? Who would you like to include in that communication or in that connection with you? Uh, is that my? That's some weird. That was a weird squeaking noise on this desk. I was like, I hear screams. But that's not it. And so, just pay attention to that energy Tuesday as we sort of move closer and closer to the holiday season. Of course, we've got next week available for appointments, and then holiday season starts. So pay attention to that. The shop will probably be closed starting. I think it's the 22nd is the last day because I think that it's 22nd, and then the 23rd is a Sunday, right? And then 24th obviously is Christmas Eve. And of course, I'm not open on Sundays. So I think the 22nd, whatever that Saturday is going to be the last day the shop's open until New Year's. I'll be out of pocket for the entire holiday season. So get your shopping and or your appointments, get them in where you can fit them in. Just go to newdimensionscrystal.com and book now for those sessions. If not, it's not that. That's so weird, all that squeaking that's going on this desk. If not, we'll see you in the new year. It's not that long. It's like a week in like 2 days. So if you need to delay until the new year, that is also fine because new year, new energy, all that kind of fun stuff. And maybe even extra Christmas money or promotions in your job will sort of make it easier to find a schedule I know a lot of us don't have time off, but that's why I am available after 5 p.m. for appointments if you just pick those times out. So until next week, everybody, I think that's the report. It, that is so weird. All the squeaking that's going on here, it's time to re-oil or maybe buy a new chair. Wow, that's a weird ending, but nonetheless, I'm going to end it now anyway, especially once I find the button that says uh, stop recording. And we will see you next time. And until then, like I was about to say, many blessings.